Are you into this objection handling? Do you do objection handling, or you think it's like, hey, just if it's not for you, it's not for you? You know what I'm saying? Or are you like, no, I got to close you?
It depends. I'm really big on qualify your salespeople. Like if you don't think this is for you, then don't do it. The kind of way to objection handling, I think, is kind of like sales trainers, like you gotta handle the objections, so you get in like this weird.
Dude, these guys call it motivational interviewing now. I saw this company, they're like, don't call it objection handling. Now you admitted there's an objection. And that's a negative thing, and now you run a negative into the
right. So I think people
motivational interviewing
complicate it. So the best way to kind of handle the objections is, there's a couple ways. When you're describing so the big thing is going into the problem section.
Right.
So again, to recap, the big idea, how I say it is, the big idea works is in under 200 words, if you can do it. If you can do it in a sentence, great. But if you can say, like, here's kind of what the market knows, here's what's going to happen if you're not fixing it, kind of like a winter is coming sort of feeling. And don't say winter is coming. I say that to copywriters, and I'm like, winter is coming. It's like, all right, don't actually type that.
After Game of Thrones, they probably got hacked. You know what I mean? Sometimes books get hacked. It just gets hacked. It's like people aren't going to like you now if you do that.
Exactly. So, and then kind of how it is that so meet the idea, kind of what the problems that are facing, and then kind of what they're about to learn and why you do it differently. So that's the big idea. It's almost like defining the market in under 200 words. Yeah. And then once you get into the problem, that's where you can kind of handle objections, because it's kind of like, here's, like that Palmolive ad's really good. Like, here are 5 mistakes fixed for you. So those 5 mistakes that Palmolive was writing, and that ad's from like 1902, were probably very 5 common things that men were dealing with when they were shaving. So it's kind of like, here's one thing that, like, you can either state in, like, you may worry about this, but here's how we handle it, or here's how we handle it, a little bit better. And it doesn't have to be 5 problems. It can be 3 problems. It can be a problem. You got to show how you handle that particular problem. And that, with good writing, it's just like a good, it's like good comedic writing, good comedic timing. If you bake it in to it versus like, and here comes the punchline, guys. Like, I see too many copywriters like that on the nose, like, and the punchline is like, like, don't do stand-up, all right?
Yeah. Hide it a bit, be smooth. Yeah, it is this mix between, and that's why I like how these guys recruited you. They're like, hey, you're a weird guy, you could do copywriting.
Right.
You're a little kooky, you can do copywriting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So bake it in, and then the other way I think that's very overlooked, somewhere on the sales page or somewhere in the sales pitch, you have to be able to lay out the strengths and weaknesses of the competitors, but you also have to learn how to lay out your strengths and weaknesses. Because, if you're a small agency, right, and this is an example, like you're a small agency going after, and your brand's making new, and you're going after new business, and there is the professional team, you have to be able to be kind of like, it's like the scene in 8 Mile where Slim Shady is just says everything that the other guy is going to say.
Yeah.
Right. So you're like, look, we're small. We're, everything. These guys are going to tell you that we're small. We don't have the resources. We don't have this. You know what? And they are right. But how we're going to handle this is that, with one-on-one thing, we're going to grow with you. We're going to learn with you.
You're getting a comedy writer. This guy is a cult survivor. He's done 5,000 hours of that's brainwash type of training. We can apply these things to the market. Let's
exactly. Go. Bingo. So that's kind of a way that's such a much better way to handle objections. So yeah, like the takeaway was be like, watch that scene in 8 Mile when he's about to say everything the competitor is going to say about him. Like, that's a far better way of being like, okay, let me wait for this objection to come.
Yeah. It's almost like dating advice. every time I see these sales things, it's like it does, a lot of it does feel like that, of like, you know, keep getting out there, you know, like get the numbers in, or like even qualifying people or doing stuff like that, and how like that's a good look for you. It's a similar psychology. Like you're almost just trying to get someone to think the way you think, I guess.
Right. And there's ways to do it. Like you can be, you know, if you're like some guys, if they don't need the dating advice, they just need to be able to, like, coming from a position of I am vetting, or guys and girls, I am vetting you out. So that kind of presence is like, I'm not hoping for a date. Oh, shucks.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah. We go to people and we say, we don't know if you're qualified to pay us. That's hot. Right. That's sexy. They're like, hey, we only take you got to be cool as fuck, dude. I'm not taking some loser ass shit. I'm a comedian. I write jokes. You're weird. I'm not working on it. It's not going to work. Right? Yeah.
Or you got to also be self-aware enough to know when you're like, you're George Costanza, and it's like, I am bald and I live with my parents. Like in that one scene where he goes up to the girl, like,
my name is George. I'm unemployed and I live with my parents.
You have to be self-aware enough to understand to lead with that kind of.
You got to lead with it. Wow, Costanza's a genius, eh? Dude, I can't believe how much dating advice comes out of even Curb Your Enthusiasm. That man is a G, right? All of his flings, he's always
dude. Smart dude.
He hooks up with so many hot people in the show, and it's all just being like little moves, you know. He always does like little, like one time. What did he say to someone? He goes, "Excuse me, can you put my gum out?" Or like something dumb like that. But he does like a little joke. And then she takes it, and they're like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "It's a move. Don't worry." And then like 2 scenes later, like they're on a date.
Yeah.
The sales community is tenacious like that. It really scares you. Every time I go to sales church, I'm like, I don't know how can we compete with these people, but we can, because you know we got to just spin it basically.
Yeah, when you can spin your weaknesses and spin what other people are going to say about you, and that obviously works for any kind of salesmanship with anything. You know, you're writing copy, and that's the other thing. Obviously, it comes down to good copy. So instead of trying to hard sell it, spinning something like that, it works way better than like.